Good morning, I'm Chris Fox, and today we're going to be talking about mind mapping for authors. So for those of you that are not familiar with the process of mind mapping, don't worry, we're going to go over that. It's a tool that is used most often for brainstorming. You will see it crop up all the time in the business world, but you don't often see authors using this, and this is something that I've used to great effect. And the benefit of using mind mapping is that it makes it very simple for you to take a very complex, daunting task, like let's say write a novel, and break it down into manageable steps that you can accomplish. And once you've done that, the beautiful thing about the way your brain works is you'll start automatically breaking it down further subconsciously. So you'll now have manageable pieces, and your brain will say, oh, if I do A and then B and then C, that part of it's done. And then I can move on to the next part and do A and B and C, and that part of it's done. So mind mapping is a great kind of overarching structure for how you can accomplish seemingly impossible tasks, very large things. And so today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're going to take a look at my screen, and I'm going to show you how I use mind mapping software. And before we get there are a number of different mind mapping tools that exist for Mac, for PC, for your smartphone, for your tablet. What you use is completely up to you. And if you don't like technology, this works perfectly with a paper and pencil. So as you're watching what I'm doing in the software, don't get hung up on the tool that I'm using. Just find one that works for you. So the program that we're looking at right here is called Inspiration, but as I mentioned in the first segment, there are a billion different types of software, so you can use whatever works for you on whatever platform you're using. All of them have in common, you're going to start with one main idea. Okay, so let's go with write a novel, or you know what, publish a novel sounds a little better to me. So publish a novel. You want to make this as specific as possible. And now we can drag this all over the screen. I'm going to put it up here near the top because that's sort of the hierarchy that works for me. And then our goal is to start thinking of everything that is involved in this massive project. So what are some of the things that we're going to have to do? We are going to have to commission a cover. Commission a cover. We are going to need to hire an editor. We're going to need somebody to edit this book, maybe more than one. So hire editor, I'll put an S in parentheses there, hire editors. What else are we going to need to do? We are going to need to outline the story. And let's see, can I think of a couple more things? I am sure there are a million things that we have to do. How about we need to plan our launch eventually? So that's way down the road, but we need to plan the launch. But it is something we're going to have to take care of eventually. And so what you end up with is a whole bunch of these things. If you were doing this on your own, or I was doing it on my own, I'd probably end up with 10 or 15 of them. And once I had all 10 or 15, I would go to the first one on the list, commission a cover, and I do exactly the same thing for this. So this is really a sub-project of publishing a novel, but it's going to have all its own little sub-projects. So some of the things that you might do for commissioning a cover, we're going to have to start by figuring out what we like. So find 3 covers I really like. And those will serve kind of as a template for the cover that we get. We're also going to need to find a typographer, somebody to do amazing typography. And because I tend to do epic fantasy, or in this case I'm going to be doing epic fantasy, I'm going to need an artist. So I need a really great artist. So find great cover artist. Okay, so that gives me kind of the basic pieces of what I would need to do for my cover, but it also exposes something I didn't include up here. In order for me to do typography, I've got to have a title, right? So I didn't think of this yet, but I'm going to add a little placeholder for that. So how about brainstorm title? Okay, so, and you're going to keep thinking of things as you are working on, let's say, commission a cover. You might think of something about the launch, and you just keep adding it. And this outline grows. It'll grow in all directions depending on how you choose to use it. And then once you've got it as far along as you think you can, and you have a pretty good idea of everything that's involved, then it's time to start taking action. So what I'll typically do is, let's say I'm working on commissioning the cover. We're going to start with that first. You can usually change the color in a mind mapping program, and so I usually go with a shade of green. So this lets me know that of all the stuff that I have brainstormed, this is where I am currently focusing. And then I pick one of the things that I need to do, and I'll take that action. So for finding a typographer, all I need to do is send an email to a guy that I've already worked with in the past, a guy by the name of Glendon. So I would go ahead and send that email right now, and as soon as I had done so, I would change this to a darker green. So for me, this is just the cover that I choose to use. Darker green means it's done. Lighter green means it's being done. Red, when I need to use this, is I'm roadblocked somewhere. I can't go any further unless I figure something out or I'm waiting on somebody to get something done. I think that the system that you choose to use ultimately for mind mapping is going to be up to you, but you can use a variety of colors and shapes to sort of massage your ideas, and hopefully taking a look at this program, you can start seeing how this might be useful. One of the interesting things about the human brain is we tend to recoil from things that are scary. And when you look at just publish a novel, that's pretty scary to just about anybody you were to ask. If you look around in your everyday life and ask somebody how they feel about publishing a novel, they're going to look like a deer in headlights for the most part. But if that same person were to sit down for a half hour and just brainstorm it, all the things they need to do, and then let's say for the next 4 weeks, every day they did one thing that they had brainstormed, before they knew it, they'd be done with all the legwork. So this is just a way for you to up your productivity by breaking things down into manageable pieces. And then, even if you don't feel like you're working towards this big one goal up here, publishing a novel, if all you did today is find 3 covers that you really like, you've done something. You have moved in the right direction. So that's how we can use mind mapping software to really accelerate our career as an author. I've also used it for plotting. I use it for family trees sometime. But I recommend giving this software a look, finding something that works for you like inspiration, and seeing if this works as a process. Just experiment. And if it does, let me know in the comments. Shoot me an email, chris@chrisfoxwrites.com. I would love to hear how you are using these tools, because I think that we as authors can really benefit. And if somebody figures something out, hey, I'm going to share it, and maybe we can all start doing that.